Now,
Okay.
that's what I thought.
Okay.
Sorry. If you want
Oh.
to start from the beginning, or you want to start that intro over, you can do a quick one.
Sure. Oh. All right. So, our equipment exam is going to be setting up the camera and the tripod. The reason why this is the first thing is because it's one of the most important things, because if you can't set up a camera and a tripod, then you may set it up and it just fall over, and that's a quick way to break your stuff. All right, so you got $500 tripods and $3,000 cameras, and yeah, gravity and falling doesn't, falling equipment doesn't work well together. So that's why we're doing this. Also, it's a timed exercise. So reason why it's timed is because normally when you go out on a shoot, time is a factor. So you can't be taking 15, 20 minutes to set up your equipment. You need to be able to do it relatively quickly. So for this exercise, you have about 6 minutes. And that includes setting up the tripod, inserting the SD card, battery, turn the camera on, and then I take a look at it, I examine it, and then you break it down and take out all that stuff, the batteries and the SD cards, and put it back in the bag, and I call time. So let's get started. So when setting up the tripod, when you take it out of the bag, or when you put it in the bag, the head of the tripod should be on this side here. So the part that unzips all the way to the other side of it, that's where the head of the tripod should be. So there's a difference between this side and there's a difference between this side right here, where it doesn't quite unzip all the way down. So you want it, the head of the tripod there. The reason why is because when you're actually carrying it, it's for balance, okay? And also it probably fits better. So one thing that's nice about this particular tripod is that the spreader is not at the bottom, okay? Oh, what I'm doing right now is I'm making sure that the pan handle of the tripod is not in the way of the legs expanding, because if this was locked in like this and I try to expand, it gets in the way. So that's why one of the things I was checking for was just to make sure that it's over a little bit, so that way I can expand the legs of the tripod. So, and that's how you do that. Okay. And what I try to do first is make sure that the tripod is balanced before I extend the legs, because at this level, it should all be balanced. One thing I check for, like with this one, I don't know if you can see, but this leg is extended out a little bit farther than the others. The way I can tell is because if you look at this one, I know this is some really tight stuff, but this is pressed in more together. So is this one, but this one is not. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust this. Normally you shouldn't have to do this, but it is just something to watch out for. So I'm just going to loosen this up a little bit and squeeze that in, and then just tighten it. So if I didn't do that, I'd be like, okay, well, I thought I loosened everything and made everything at the same height, but it's still not balanced. So what I'm doing before I extend, I just loosen the locks. I don't know if you noticed, it just moved a little bit. So that way I know that it's balanced, okay? Next, what I'm gonna do is, I call this little cheater knob right here, and I'm just gonna unscrew it a little bit, and I'm gonna make sure that the balance bubble is centered. And Tim, can you see that? Do you want me to move closer?
I think I got it.
Okay, so yeah, if it's not centered, then the little air bubble won't be in the center of the circle, okay? And once it is centered, the air bubble is in the center of the circle. You with me, Zacchaeus?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now that I've got that stuff done, now I'm ready to raise the tripod. So what I'm going to do is, well, for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to do it the full height. But if I were, I would unlock all my legs and then raise it up. And then once I have it at a height that I want, then I would lock it, okay? But for this instance, because I don't need to have it at the full height, I'm just going to unlock these at this level right here. And I'm just going to raise it up till it can't go up anymore. So, and I just squeeze this to make sure that it's, exactly, getting the same extension on all legs. So, sorry. Then once I do that, I know that it's balanced, and here I can even, because I balanced it before I raised it, and I raised them all to the same height, so it still stays balanced, okay? Now sometimes you might be, say, on a hill or something, and you kind of have to adjust the legs according to the angle of the hill and all that kind of stuff. That's where the cheater knob, helps, because say if I had to have it like this, I still want to keep it balanced, but most times you won't be shooting stuff on an inclined hill or anything, so yeah. Next, just because I just want to make sure this looks right, I'm going to loosen the pan handle and just angle it up a little bit. There's some little ridges or some teeth right here, and I just tighten it till they kind of interlock into place. And while I don't have a camera on top, I'll go ahead and point this out. This is for your tilt, okay? This, oh wait. There we go. That's my QVC angle. This is for your tilt. This is your tilt lock. When you need to release the camera from the slide plate, you press this button. However, there's one other feature that you need to know about. This, and to keep this in mind, it's on the same side as the tilt handle. This is how you kind of like lock your camera into place once you slide it on. Now this will make more sense in just a moment. So set up the tripod. Make sure tripod is balanced. Attach camera to tripod. So when attaching the camera to the tripod, there's a little arrow on your slide plate, and it says like lens that way. Okay, so it kind of like points to the lens. So normally you won't have to deal with this because it's it usually stays on the camera at all times. Okay, but that kind of lets you know which way it should be going. It should be going this way. And on the tripod, there's a little arrow right here, so it lets you know that your camera needs to be going this way. Okay, not this other way. You guys with me so far? So what I'm going to do is, I think maybe it'll look better if I do it from this angle, is I call front end first. So front end, connect that first into this little groove here, and when I'm going to slide it in, it's going to click. Okay, you heard the click? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten this knob here, because right now it's clipped in, right? But it still moves. Now, I wouldn't test, like, there's something stopping me from it going all the way down. Going all the way out, but I won't test it. I ain't going to bet $3,000 on that. So, I take this knob here and I twist it tighter. And you don't have to use, with none of this that we're doing, you don't have to use a lot of strength, okay? If you're like putting elbow grease into it, you're probably about to break something, or you're definitely doing something wrong. So you don't need to do it like that, okay? So with this, now that I have it tightened, when it's loose, it slides. When it's tightened, it doesn't slide, okay? Oh, something I wanted to mention. I hope I'm not being too scatterbrained. But as far as it goes with the tilt on a tripod, whenever you're going to step away from a camera, always lock the tilt lock. Reason being, because not every camera in the world is a fluid head tripod. What a fluid head tripod does is it allows the pans and the tilts to be smooth, okay? If this has zero of that smoothness, then it offers zero resistance, and if it's not locked, it could just fall down, and depending on the type of the camera and the lens, it could, the lens could actually smash into the tripod. So if ever you're going to step away, always lock it. Even if you're just going over here to get something out of this bag, you still, you treat it almost like if you were going to leave. I know this is a terrible example, but if you're going to leave a baby on a countertop, all right. One, you probably don't want to leave a baby on the countertop, just a baby on the countertop. But if you are, you're going to be like very, ready to jump in and save it at any moment. Okay? So Think of it kind of like that. So now I've attached the camera to the tripod. Come on, you with me? All right. So let's see. Oh, just talked about the tilt lock, which is right here. The pan lock is in a very weird spot on this particular camera. It is right here, right in front. Okay? You see that? So if I move it all the way to the other side, I can't move this. I'm not like pretending like, oh no, I just, you know, anyway. So now I can move it. Something that you don't really need to know about, but you may be wondering, this right here affects the resistance of the pan. So you're like, what's that big old knob for? That's just for affecting the resistance of the pan. That won't be on the test, it's just sometimes people are curious about that. So, what? Can it be what?
Bonus.
On what?
I said a bonus.
A bonus? In life? Alright. What was that? Oh, so inserting the battery into the camera. So this